Hello everyone, welcome to the Crystaly Recapped channel. Carter participates in fights he is sought by a girl named Frankie. When this happens near the club, another fighter named Dalton joins them, who dreams of becoming a better fighter. Carter refuses to fight when he realizes who this man is, and Dalton takes the winnings. On the street, a man who lost $500 approaches him and wounds Dalton. While treating the wound, Frankie offers Dalton a job at her bar, but he refuses. Before leaving, Frankie leaves him her number in case he changes his mind. Dalton tires of his life and, stopping on the railway tracks, at the last moment changes his mind and decides to start over. For this, he wants to work at Frankie's bar. At the stop, he meets a girl named Charlie who works at a bookstore owned by a man named Steven. He helps Dalton find the bar he's looking for. First thing, Dalton buys coffee and meets the bartender. Every night, many people gather at the bar and fights break out, but the bartender Billy restrains them all. After a while, a biker gang enters the bar. The leader is not satisfied that it's too quiet there and starts smashing things. They scatter the guests and harass the girls. Billy intervenes, but the leader doesn't like it. Dalton leads the troublemakers outside and asks if their insurance can cover the broken teeth. The leader starts laughing and immediately gets slapped by Dalton. The bikers try to beat Dalton, but he limits himself to slaps and they have no chance. However, Dalton is a good guy and takes the bikers to the hospital. Nurse Ellie notices that Dalton has an open wound and offers her help. Because of this, he stays in the hospital and they start watching him. Returning to the bar, Frankie pays him his first salary and realizes he has nowhere to live, so she offers him accommodation on a boat. He starts to remember his past, where he was a famous UFC fighter, but his thoughts are interrupted by the bartender, Laura. She explains that they had many guards, and she hopes Dalton will stay here for a long time. After breakfast, he comes to the bookstore and asks if they have a computer. A fight starts in the neighboring store, and the girl tries to drive away the bikers. Dalton notices this and goes to help Charlie. The bikers quickly get scared and leave. A little later, he returns to the bar and asks why the locals recognize him. Frankie explains that rumors spread quickly here, and all the bikers work for Ben, who wants to shut down Frankie's business. Meanwhile, Dalton teaches Billy the basics of fighting against people with knives, and together they drive away the troublemakers. Dalton spends all his free time maintaining physical shape. After a while, he meets Riff. Dalton notices wounds on Riff's fists, who says he's into boxing. Now a new guard works in the bar under Dalton's supervision. The man tries to steal a bottle, but Dalton hints that he shouldn't do it and asks him to go home. On the street, he notices a group of bikers talking about coming back to him soon. A new day dawns, and Dalton accidentally meets Ellie. He wonders why there are such aggressive people here. She explains that loyalty is valued here and even the police can't always help. After work, Laura offers to drive Dalton home, but he refuses. On the way, someone tries to kill him, but he barely survives. Del suspects that he won't be killed and breaks into his house. Dalton wants to understand why they're trying to kill him. Del explains that it's not about him but about the bar. Taking advantage of the moment, Dalton attacks Del and throws him into the water when suddenly a crocodile appears and kills the man. The next day, Dalton tries to understand why they want to take over the bar, but he is once again interrupted by a thug. Dalton learns the name of the boss, and if he wants to talk to him, he must come to him personally. Ben is irritated by the fact that some guard is ruining all his plans. His father understands that Ben won't do anything and seeks help from Knox. Dalton and Ellie ride on a yacht. She wants to show him her favorite place, a small island hidden underwater. She tells him that Ben belongs to an ancient lineage that built a large part of the city. Ellie begins to ask about Dalton's life. He doesn't like it, and he wants to leave. Dalton calls Ellie a good person, but she doesn't need to know him better. However, Ellie knows how to calm Dalton down. Knox arrives in town and meets the biker gang. A little later, Ben arrives and Knox immediately delivers a message from his father. Ben asks for another chance, and if he fails, Knox can burn down the entire bar. The police stop Dalton and take him to the sheriff. He wants Dalton to leave town, and if he refuses, they will take him to the station and kill him there. Laura comes to the rescue and hits the sheriff, who is her father. Ellie tells that her father works for Ben's family, and the most important among them is Gerald. She is sure that now the sheriff works for Ben. Ellie doesn't want Dalton to die, so she asks him to leave. Meanwhile, thugs prepare to destroy the bookstore. In the evening, Ben comes to the bar to personally meet Dalton. He shows a video where Dalton fights with his friend and accidentally kills him. Ben fails to negotiate, and he asks Knox to destroy the bar. Dalton immediately notices the thugs. Billy and Riff try to stop them, but Knox beats them. He says he was hired to deal with Dalton. A fight breaks out between them. Dalton tries to avoid blows, but Knox seems to not feel pain and fights like a mad beast. Knox is convinced that Dalton is trying to hold back. They are interrupted by the arriving police. Dalton gathers his things to leave town. Frankie doesn't understand how they could scare him. At the bus stop, he notices the destroyed bookstore and asks what happened to the girl and her father. Firefighters say they were taken to the hospital. Now Dalton decides not to run away, but on the contrary, he personally comes to the biker's house. Dalton feared not Knox and his gang, but what he could do with them. With one blow, he kills a bandit. To survive, the man tells where Dalton can find Ben. Later, he notices the police unloading crates. Waiting for the moment, Dalton neutralizes the sheriff's deputy and opens the crate. They are filled with money. Dalton takes the officer's gun and shoots a biker. A little later, the sheriff comes to him and asks to return the money. Ben's people kidnapped his daughter, and they won't return her until he brings the money. Dalton is forced to agree. Knox returns to the biker's house and doesn't understand where everyone has gone. Dalton refuses to give up the money until they show him Ellie. However, their negotiations are interrupted by Knox. Dalton presses a button and his yacht explodes. Panic ensues and Dalton runs to find Ellie. The glass breaks, and Ellie emerges to the surface. Ben notices her and lifts her onto the yacht. Knox tries to kill Dalton, but he gets caught in the rope and climbs onto the boat. Then he pushes Knox into the water and overtakes Ben to jump onto his yacht. Ellie asks Dalton to jump into the water, after which the yacht, along with Ben, crashes ashore. By that time, Knox swims to the bridge. Examining the bar, Dalton finds Ben, who tries to kill him with a harpoon. Suddenly, Knox crashes into the building. A rematch begins. This time, Dalton doesn't hold back and delivers a series of strong blows. Dalton pretends to be tired and catches Knox on mistakes. He grabs him from behind, but Knox takes a sharp stick and breaks free from the grip, inflicting serious injuries. Ben starts giving orders and crazed Knox kills Ben. With his last strength, Dalton pulls out the stick and sends Knox to the other world. The sheriff comes out and promises to arrest Dalton. Before leaving, he talks to Charlie, and Charlie's father finds a bag full of money. But he doesn't have time to ask where they came from. This is the end of the movie. That's all for today. Subscribe and like if you want more videos like this.